Jai Hind everyone. My name is Dr. Neetu Sharma, Assistant Professor from Applied Science and Humanities. Subject name is Technical Communication and subject code is KS301. Unit 1, the name of Unit 1 is Fundamentals of Technical Communication. And the topic which we are going to cover in this unit is language as a tool for communication. So first, let me ask you one question, that what is a language? Obviously, every person that uses language every day, but it can be tricky to define this accurately, right? So language, actually, you can say it is essentially a term for a complex communication system used by humans that consist of words and phrases, and when they are combined, right, it can create infinite variable utterances. So in very simple terms, we can define language as, you can say, language is used, or it helps in sending emotions and feelings of two individuals. It also allows us to transmit our express or to express our feelings and emotions by signals, symbols, words, or you can say gestures and postures and etc. So in this very simple language, you can define in this very simple language, or in this very simple words, you can use to define language. Now if we move further, so to understand the different characteristics of a language, first we need to understand what's its importance in our life. Why this topic has been included in your syllabus. Why this is a very important part of our life, right? See, language is the, or you can say communication is the soul of our life. The prime purpose of a language is to make our challenging ideas easier, so that we can transmit it easily, right? See, language, or you can say without language, we can not even think of, or we cannot even imagine that we can have an effective conversation. Today, language has become an important tool of socialization as well as of trade and commerce. And globalization is the essence of civilization. Man invented language because he wanted to convey, he wanted to express, he wanted to discuss with different sorts of people. So this is the only medium that we can use, and we can express our feelings and expressions. There are different countries have different languages, and language actually represents a country's culture. We can say that language is unique to our species because this is the only medium which we can use to convey or to transmit our customs, our culture within different societies and nations. So if we want to progress in different fields on an international level, or in different fields, then we need to be proficient in the use of language. How this language developed initially, that's not wholly clear, but still the linguists are doing research on this. I think language, how it works or how we learn it, if you see that all people, they learn at least one language in their early childhood, right? So if a man or if a person doesn't get exposure to any language as a child, then he would not be able to speak fluently as an adult, or to learn a language fluently as an adult, because this is how we learn a language, how our mind develops, how our mind works, right? So we need to learn a language since our early childhood, then only we can become proficient in its use. So I hope that you have understood that what is the concept of a language, why is it so important in our life. Now, the second thing which you need to understand, that how it came into being, how it came into existence. Before the invention of the written words, people, firstly, they used some sort of auditory signals to transmit messages like drum beats, whistles or grunts, and they also use some sort of visuals also like drawings or hand signals or fire signals and smoke. Such kind of signals they used. And now we have observed subsequently over the years lot of changes in the language, and so ultimately it has changed the communication process. So language consists of words, symbols and signs. Okay, so the language consists of all these, and these are important elements of a language. So these are the focus point of a language. So communication process, actually all these elements, if you really want to understand all these elements which are important in a language, then you need to understand the communication process. What is the connection between communication process and a language? So I can explain you with the help of a very simple example, like communication and language. You can think like this, that communication and language, you can consider it as a car and road. Like you can consider communication process as a car and language as like a road. Okay, like you use the same car on different roads for traveling. In the similar way, you can use the same communication process for different languages. Like if but you need to understand that both communication process and language, both are very important for effective conversation, as both car and road are important for traveling, right? So we cannot separate them. So let's understand actually what is communication process. So these are the elements of the communication process: sender, encoding, message, channel, receiver and decoding. So let's understand first what is actually sender. So this is the person who initiates the communication process. This is the person who has some idea in his mind. Now obviously this person has to translate that idea, or that he has to give a physical form to that idea. So he uses some words to give it a physical form to his idea. So sender is the person who initiates the process, and he is the person who is also called encoder, because he encodes the message. He uses some signs, some symbols, some combination of words to actually encode the message, or to give the physical form to the idea which he has in his mind. So that he is called encoder. So you need to understand that we can use a combination of words to make some meaningful sentences, but if we do not use a proper combination of words, then we can make it meaningless, right? So that's you have, as a sender, you have a very high responsibility on your shoulders to draft the message or to combine the words accurately, so that you can send the message in the form in which you really want to send. The second and third is message. This is the third element of this communication process. So message is the content, right, which you want to send to the receiver. It can be in any form. The content can be in any form. Even it can be in the form of non-verbal communication. So verbal communication, obviously it is the combination of words which you can use orally, or which you can use also in the written form. And non-verbal communication is the use of your body language. So message is the content. The next is channel. So channel is the medium through which you convey your message. Channel is the medium. Like for example, you can use email, you can use letters, you can use written or spoken words, you can use newspapers, radio, television, any media you can use to transmit your message. The next is receiver. So receiver is the person who receives the message. So he is actually also called a decoder, because he decodes the message in his mind, he interprets the message in his mind. So how he interprets the message, that depends on the receiver. So we can say that the meaning of the message lies in the mind of the receiver. Suppose, for example, let me explain you with the help of a very simple example. Suppose there is a leader and he is saying there is cutthroat competition outside and you have to work hard. So there are some employees who are illiterate and they are not getting what actually the leader is saying. So they interpret in their mind that the leader is saying that the competition is so tough, you need to work hard, and if you do not work hard, your neck will be cut. So obviously, it means that how the receiver interprets the message, how he comprehends the message, that depends on him. So he's also called decoder because he interprets the message or he translates the message in his own words or signs or symbols which he understands, right? The next is feedback. So obviously this is the last element, but very important element in this whole communication process, because feedback is actually the message which is sent back from the receiver to the sender in the form of action or in the form of some kind of clarification. Like if he has not understood the message, then he may ask for any clarification from the sender, or so it's a response from the receiver back to the sender. So receiver is the person who gives feedback to the sender, and feedback is essential to complete this whole communication process, because only after that sender gets an idea that whether his message has been understood properly or not as intended by him, right? Then noise, that is, you can say this is an interruption which may can creep in this whole communication process at any time. For example, let me explain you with the help of very simple example. Suppose you are writing something and your writing is not clear. That is illegible writing. So your writing is not clear. There is also noise, because the person who is reading that written matter is not able to grasp what you have written because your writing is not clear. So that is also noise. So noise is any interruption in the medium which you use or in the flow of communication, right? So it can be in telephones also, telephone line also, like network is not working properly, or it can be the noise outside the room where you are having a meeting. So that is also called noise. So now you have understood that what is a language. You have understood why is it so important in your life, why is it called the soul of our life. You have also understood that how it has been how it came into existence or how it was developed. So now we will understand few characteristics also of the language. There are a few characteristics which a language possesses. So let's understand all of them one by one. But before that, let me give you a brief overview of the entire lecture, that what you are going to have an idea after the lecture in your mind. That effective communication is possible only with the help of language. To define language, it is a combination of words to communicate ideas in a meaningful way. By changing the word order in a sentence, one can change its meaning and even make it meaningless. How did words acquire their meanings? So you are also going to get about this concept in this lecture. So let's wait for the next slides. What, for example, is the connection between a wooden plank balanced on 4 legs and the word table? Obviously, there is no correlation between the symbol and its meaning, because language is arbitrary. So that is a very important part, very important keyword of this lecture, which I am going to explain you what is arbitrary, a very important characteristic of the language. In the very first words, there may have been some correlation between the symbol and the sense. They may have been onomatopoeic. A few such words still persist in the English language, like buzz, drizzle and murmur. According to the ideas put forward by eminent linguists such as Noam Chomsky and Ferdinand de Saussure, language is artificial, restricted, abstract, arbitrary, creative, redundant and recursive. So these are important characteristics of a language, and I'm going to explain all of them one by one. So let's understand the first one, that language is artificial. So why language is called artificial, right? Language is called artificial because it is created by human beings. There is no organic process or natural process involved in the formation of language or in the creation of words, right? So language is artificial. So it does not exist in isolation. It does not exist outside the minds of people. Okay, so it is created by people according to their need. Every symbol is attached to a particular thought or thing called referent. Words like it's, nice, idiot, there are so many words which have been created. So language is open to modification. Changes are incorporated with changing needs. And I want to tell you one more thing here, that daily at least 2 words in an hour are added to the dictionary, and even Shakespeare alone, he has credit of 1700 words to add in the dictionary, right? So you can understand that how these words are created and how many innumerable words are added to the dictionary daily. Now next point is language is restricted. So this is the limitation of the language. While encoding the ideas into language, some meaning is lost. So it means that when we transmit our ideas or thoughts into language, when we try to translate them into our language, some meaning is lost in this process, because no word can explain or tell the exact reality or our perception. Some meaning is lost. Like for example, if I say that there are 2 beautiful places, right? One is more beautiful than the other, but there is only a slight difference between those 2 places. Like slight difference in the sense because of the color combination or because of the radiant colors it has, but exactly you cannot explain how beautiful it is than the next other one. So obviously it means that no symbol or word can transmit the exact reality. That is why sometimes you find yourself saying that I'm not able to exactly say my words or feelings, how I'm feeling this time. I'm not getting the words. So this is the problem, because this is the limitation of language. It is a sketch of the apparent and obvious, right? Now, next feature of the language is that language is abstract. Language is abstract means it represents generalized ideas of things or thoughts. You know that, like for example, there's a table. You know that a wooden plank, when it is supported by 4 legs, we call it a table, right? It can be of different sizes and different shapes, but still it be a table. Even if you have never seen a table with 3 legs, you would be able to still identify it as a table. So how you are able to identify it? Because of this feature that language is abstract. Even if you don't know that how to what is the name of this particular thing or this particular idea, you would be able to explain to the others that what is actually this thing is, because of this feature of language. Like for example, stapler. You don't know that this particular thing is called stapler. Okay, so you can define like this, that this is the thing which is used to bind papers. We use a kind of pin to bind all the papers, attach all the papers, and then this is an stationary item. So in this way you can explain. So that is the thing, that idea the word represents is different every time. That is also another thing. For example, dress. So dress can be anything. It can be like a sari, a suit, a formal dress, like a trousers and shirt. So that is the thing, that language is abstract. To be abstract is to generalize, and to generalize is to leave out many details. So as I have said you that a table can be of different shapes and sizes and still be called a table. For example, table with 3 legs. So meaning get associated with symbols, and users keep expanding the range of meanings. So do you know the meaning of nice? As I've told you that language is abstract, and we keep modifying the meaning of the words, and we expand the meaning of the words as the need arises. So like you can see the change in the meaning of nice. We use it in different situations in different way. Like for example, pleasant, enjoyable, attractive, kind, friendly. And when in ironic situation, I can say it's nice. So I'm saying that's bad or unpleasant. Then in formal way, we can say that involving a very small detail or difference. Language is arbitrary. Language is arbitrary means it is illogical, or you can say there is no inherent relation between the word of a language and the idea or thing it represents or it conveys. There is no relation between that word and idea, right? For example, there is no reason that why a female adult is called aurat in Urdu, women in English, Zan in Parsi. There is no reason, right? We have selected a particular word to convey a particular idea. So we have a choice and we have selected that particular idea. But once it is selected to refer a thing in a particular way, then it comes to stay as such. Then there is no change. So that is the thing. So there is no direct relationship between the word and the object. So it is arbitrary. There is no reason. And had there been, had the language been not arbitrary, then there would have been only one language in the world. So this is the feature that's why we have so many languages, right? Because of this feature. So as the need arises, this is another feature of language, that language is creative. Language is creative means that we create innumerable words daily. But how these words are created, that you need to understand how these words come into existence. As the need arises, a word is created to explain that particular thought or process. A lot of new words are generated every day. For example, emoticons, melodies, etc. So there are so many processes. One process I have shown you here, that a noun is reduced to a word of another type, usually a verb. For example, opt from option, emote from emotion. So obviously now you can see that in this particular example, we have reduced a word, that is noun. We have reduced this noun to form another word, that is a verb. So that is called reducing. There is another process by using which we can form words or we can create new words. For example, we can combine two different words and make a new one. For example, emotions and icons. We have made this new word emoticons, which you use in your during your chats. Edutainment. Edutainment is, we have combined the two different words like education and entertainment, and we combine these two words and then we form a new word. So this is how the word smoke, that actually has been combined, that has been created by you combining fog and smoke. Okay, that is smoke, right? So this is how the words are created. Even we borrow it from other countries too. Like you can see that boss, that this word has been borrowed from Dutch country. Alcohol has been borrowed from Arabic countries. So there are so many words which we also borrow. Matra, that is Sanskrit, we have borrowed from mother. Like you can see. So there are so many similarities also. So how these languages or how these words are created daily. So that is why language is called creative also, because we create innumerable words. Now you can see even in information technology, we are using words by only adding some kind of prefix before a word. For example, e-commerce, e-banking. So so many words have been created only by adding a particular word prefix e in a language. Now let's move to the next feature of the language, that language is repetitive. Okay, so language has the capacity for redundancy or repetition. Repetition may improve or impede effective communication. Now, what is the meaning of this line is this, that repetition may improve. Now, if you see this example, a couple of girls are riding their bicycles. Now, you can see that whatever the words we have used in this sentence, they are indicating the presence of more than one person, like couple, girls, are, that is are is used to obviously to agree the verbs, to agree the subject. So are is used here as an agreement of the verb. Then are riding, and bicycles, that is again a plural form, and it is showing the presence of more than one person in the sentence. They are couple. So all words are essential to complete the meaning of the sentence. We cannot omit any word, right? But suppose if I say we have a meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. in the morning. Now I am using 9 a.m. So obviously a.m. is being used for morning. So there is no need to use in the morning, as we have already used am. So it is unnecessary. It is a redundant phrase which we can avoid or which we can dispense with. So you need to dispense with the words that are unnecessary. For example, if I say these are the basic fundamental essentials of this subject. So basic fundamentals both are same words. So this is unnecessary repetition we are doing in the sentence. Like for example, if I say we are planning for future. So obviously planning is done for future. So there is no need to use for future. Okay. So we are planning. That's it. So if you are using unnecessary phrases which do not add any meaning to the sentence, or which do not, so we can dispense with those words, we can omit those words that are unnecessary. So that is the another feature of language, that language is repetitive. So next feature, this is the last feature, you can say, the a language, that language is recursive. It allows to express any idea, thought or feeling using the same vocabulary. For example, this man who is wearing a crumpled coat which he borrowed from me to wear to his interview, which was on Wednesday and which was the day it was raining. So now you can see I can use or I can generate any number of sentences using the same grammatical template. Right? So this is another feature of language, that language is recursive. You can add any number of sentences in the same grammatical sentence or same structure of the sentence. Now, as you have understood now what are the characteristics of a language, I want to emphasize one more thing in this lecture, that you have already understood that what are the features or what are the characteristics of a language, but to apply it in your life efficiently or effectively, you need to understand that how important it is in our life, right? So as I have already told you that language plays a very important role. So what are the areas, what are those areas of fields where you use the communication in your life? And that is actually consist of words, ideas or symbols, right? So you need to understand the importance of communication also. So let's understand these points. You can say that communication is the heart of any organization. You are all going to become professional. You are all going to work somewhere. Okay. So everything you do in the workplace, that form the results actually of communication. Because like for example, if you are going to become a software engineer, or if you are going to become a leader, then you need to communicate daily. Whatever you have plannings, whatever you have future plans, whatever you have policies, whatever the decisions you have taken. So whatever the results you get, that is actually the result of your communication which you do with your employees. So while developing your career, you will get to know that why communication is important. So first let's say this field, organization. Why communication is important in organization? Communication plays a very important role in the management of any organization, as it is a tool for sharing thoughts, ideas, opinions, and plans in various parts of an organization. Good communication is required not only in building relationships, but also for a successful business. That is why communication is having tremendous importance in the organization. Communication helps to increase efficiency at the workplace. How it increases efficiency? Obviously, when you are able to communicate your ideas, your feelings and your emotions, your problems, then your problems will be sorted out. Your ideas will be implemented. That will ultimately, if your idea is a good one, then it will generate profit in the organization. All will become happy with you. So now you can see that obviously it increases efficiency at the workplace and you will get promotion, but which is the goal of your life. So that is the thing, that communication plays a very important role in the management of any organization. Now, what is the importance of communication for individuals? It is important to express oneself. It also satisfies one's need. One should have effective communication for advancement in the career. In your personal life, effective communication skills can smooth the your way and your relationship with others by helping you to understand others and to be understood. So if you want that other people should understand you, first you need to understand the other people, then only you can remove the gaps or the misunderstandings whatever you have in your relationship. So if you really want to expand your social circle, if you want to make good relations, good networking system of your relationship, then you need to understand others and be understood by them too. To secure an interview, so that is another important thing in your life, because all are doing, obviously why are we studying? To increase our knowledge, and the goal which is associated with this is to get a good job in our life. So to secure yourself in the interview or to get a good job, you should communicate confidently and clearly. So good communication skills would help you to get selected for the job. For motivation, this is communication is basic tool for motivation. This can improve the morale of the people. Like there are employees working in the organization, sometimes they feel low energy, they have the capacity to work more but they feel low energy. So but if you get some positive notes at workplace, and every time you get some kind of motivation or inspirational sayings or statements which can make your energy high, so it will help you a lot. So obviously this communication also helps in keeping the morale of the people high, because when you get appreciations, when you get appraisals, so it keeps your morale high. And appraisal in the form of statements, like when someone pats at your back and praises you and say something good for you, then you feel motivated. So feedback is an important factor. So how your superiors give feedback to you about your work, that is also important. Then to increase productivity, so with effective communication, you can maintain relationships. It helps to increase productivity. Like if you are having any personal problem, or if you have problem at workplace, you have conflicts, and you will not be able to do work properly. So if with the help of communication, you would be able to remove this kind of misunderstanding. You can win the trust of your employees by telling them what you have in your mind, what changes you are going to incorporate in the organization, by giving proper information to them. So obviously it helps in creating mutual understanding between the employees and the employer. So this helps to increase overall productivity of the organization. To develop professionalism in students. In the future, obviously students, they will become doctors, and then they need to communicate effectively with their patients. They need empathy, friendliness in their profession for interacting with patients. In the future, students will also become political or business entrepreneurs and leaders. In all the fields, they need to communicate effectively. So you can understand that how much this communication is important in your life. To increase the quality of being friendly with others, it is important to be friendly with others. Good communication builds strong friendships. It will give confidence. In this way, communication skills enhance the ability to understand and share the feelings of each other. It is important for making friendly relationships. To sum up, I would like to say that communication plays a major role in promoting the life of an individual, right? So today in this lecture, what you have understood, I hope that you have understood about what is language, why is this so important in our life, what language is actually, how it came into being, and what are the different characteristics of a language, why is it so complex. Okay, so and now you can understand its, if you are able to understand its complex characteristics, then you would be able to resolve the complex feature also of the language. So, and the importance of communication, that why actually you need to understand all these concepts, because this plays a very important role in your life. That's why I have already explained to you about this feature also. So let me recapitulate you a few characteristics of the language which are an important part of this lecture. That language is creative, that I have already told you that why language is creative, because it is created by human beings. There is no organic or natural process involved in the creation of language. It exists in the minds of humans. So that is why language is creative. Then language is arbitrary. Arbitrary means that whatever the words, we have different choices available to us, and we choose a particular word to refer to any idea or thing, and but when we choose it or when we select it, then it comes to stay as such. But there is no relation between that word or the idea that word actually represents or conveys. So there is no inherent. So that is why language is arbitrary. Then language is abstract. Language is abstract means it has the feature to actually generalize the things. Okay. So there is we can use the same idea to explain different things at different times, right? We can use the same word to explain different ideas at different times. That is why language is called arbitrary. Abstract, sorry, language is called abstract. Then the next feature of the language is recursive, that we can add or generate number of sentences using the same grammatical template. So that is why language is called recursive. Language is repetitive. That means that we can repeat or we can make repetition of use of the words in a sentence. And then language is artificial, language is creative, language is recursive. That language is restricted means that we have a limitation, that we cannot express our exact feelings in words. Sometimes we actually find this kind of limitation, that what our exact perception is, no symbol or word can transmit our exact perception. So these are a few limitations of language. This is the limitation of a language. So now I hope that you have understood all the characteristics of a language and this topic is clear to you. So thank you so much. Let's meet the next lecture. Bye bye.